Hey guys, so welcome back to another episode on your property upgrading journey, and today we're going to talk about, if let's say you're a first time landed buyer, what are some key selection tools that you can utilize to help you make that right decision in terms of picking out the right property. So as always, when we are looking for the right property, what we want to really ensure is that two objectives are met. First of all, when you buy into this particular property, there is that increased speed of exit when you are planning to sell in the future. So it's never about buying in just today. It's really more about the forward planning, the long-term planning in terms of when you want to exit. You want to make sure that you're in control regardless of what kind of market sentiments it is in. And the second objective, of course, is always about the pricing. We always want to see a nice profit margin when we are selecting the right property. So whether or not this particular set of property that you're choosing today is going to allow for that capital appreciation down the road. So if you're taking a look at some of the past videos, so we always talk about how the Singapore entire property market is being based off. So of course, we always have our BTOs first, followed by our HDB, followed by the condo segment, followed by the landed segment. Any movements in the different sort of segments creates a spiral effect into the next category of homes. So if we've seen in the past few years, there has been a very huge rise in terms of the entire property market as a whole. So not only are we seeing landed homes moving up very rapidly, I think even right now, your HDB resale, easily we're looking like 5 rooms in central area, they're already more than 1.2 M. So in PRB, we have this journey maker when we are planning for a landed home buyer. First of all, in step A, we always understand why landed itself is a different class of asset. So we've talked about this quite a few times in the past few episodes as well. Secondly comes to part B, what type of landed home should you then be buying in this particular season? So of course, when you're buying a home, there's never a right answer as to, you buy this particular set A of homes, then forever you're going to be making a lot of money, right? It also depends as to when you are buying and what kind of season is the market in right now, and perhaps what's the season of the market that's going to come down the road. So these are the key factors that we also need to take into consideration for a more holistic approach. Alright, so just diving straight into the PRB landed MOAT analysis. So what we mean by a MOAT analysis is that we want to make sure that we have this very strong MOAT. So in future, when we're planning to exit, we want to make sure that we have the exit plan that's ready for us. There's going to be a buyer audience. There's going to be that level of price appreciation that we hope to see as well. So the stronger the MOAT that we have means the more factors that we are able to check off, the more factors that we're able to hit. That's going to create a stronger MOAT, therefore safeguarding your capital as well as your interest in your particular property selection. So you take a look in this triangle, in the MOAT analysis, we have these 3 very key quadrants. So the first one is in terms of increasing your price acceptability. We also term it as IPA, so we have 7 factors for that. Secondly, is increasing your buyer audience, another 7 factors. And the last one, of course, is to reduce any unexpected outcomes. And we also have another 7 factors for it. So for today's sharing, we'll briefly dive into a few of the key factors. So in our very first segment, in terms of increasing the price acceptability, so what we are trying to do here is to ensure that, in future when you want to sell, there's going to be that level of price acceptability from your potential buyers in future as well. So we don't want to buy something that perhaps down the road, that level of pricing that we want to exit at is not going to be something that the new buyers are going to be able to accept. If we take a look at how the landed market has performed in the past 10 years, previously before 2010, we can note that from this graph, right, that non-landed segment and the landed segment, the prices are very similar. They're almost like in the same line, meaning to say that you can technically, for the same 1M, you can buy a landed or you can buy a condo. However, the time has changed a lot because of the landed supply that is being very restricted, still just at 73,000 across the past 20-30 years already. There's no new increase of supply, whereas for condo, of course, there are always new GLS coming up, there are new projects that are going to TOP, so the supply is increasing in terms of your non-landed segment. So therefore, we continue to see this chasm gap that has been happening between the non-landed segment and the landed segment. I think that's only going to widen throughout the coming years, just because of this very fact that the supply for landed is really fully in control, whereas the non-landed segment continues to see an increase in supply, and the demand for landed continues to grow as well as more Singaporeans and more families aspire to upgrade their property portfolio as well. So I think what we can also take away from this graph is that landed markets itself tend to perform very well, especially in the uptake market. You will see better appreciation versus any other types of properties. However, of course, coming back to the normal market or coming back to the normal market or a downturn market, then landed prices tend to be a little bit more stable. So in terms of increasing the price acceptability, let's talk about the disparity effect. And specifically just for today's episode, we want to talk about the disparity effect in terms of time as well as the state of condition. So in terms of disparity effect of time, what we are really looking at, there are different categories of homes that we have termed here in PropertyLimBrothers as well. So there's Cat 1 all the way to Cat 4. So maybe let me briefly run through. So Cat 1, usually these homes are maybe already more than 30 years old. They are probably prime for rebuild. Then for Category 2 homes, they are probably above 20 years old, but maybe less than 30 years old. Good for A&A or maybe just like a full gut renovation. You can probably still keep the structure, but there's potential to always add on another level. And Cat 3, these are homes that probably are less than 15 years old. Maybe their GFA has already been maxed out, or probably just need to do an entire gut reno to your own liking. And of course, Cat 4 will be your brand new homes, so brand new condition. Usually these are from developers as well. When we talk about disparity effect of time, really what we are looking at is whether how much time does this particular category might set you back as well, and in terms of the costing. So for example, maybe here in D19, right, a Cat 1 inter-terrace home might cost you about $4 million. However, maybe that structure is not very ideal and you do have to tear it down and do a rebuilding on it as well. So that's going to easily set you back at least 1.5 years to 2 years in terms of your rebuilding time. So there will be downtime involved. There will also be opportunity costs involved. For example, if let's say if you already sold your current HDB or you've sold your current private property and you do not have a transition home in the meantime, then that also means that you have to go out and rent for this particular period of time. And of course, going into a rental also means another set of costing involved. And of course, when we are reconstructing or when we are rebuilding, so assuming you're going to buy something about $4 million, that's going to set you back easily about 1.6 to 1.8 M in terms of your rebuilding costs. Of course, this is subjected to your eventual land size, your build-up size, your interior furnishings, so on and so forth as well. So for Category 2, maybe we're looking about A&A costings about 800,000 plus minus. Of course, that depends on the extensiveness of the work you're doing. Probably setting you back about 6 to 12 months in terms of your downtime as well. So coming to Cat 3, doing a full gut reno really just depends on what kind of reno you're going to go for. But usually I would say that less than a year, you should be able to finish all your renovation works as well. And of course, for Cat 4, you probably don't really need a lot of downtime because all you need to do is buy furniture, maybe touch up a little bit of the carpentry to your own liking. Maybe easily in the next 1 or 2 months, you can already move in. So your downtime for Cat 4 homes usually will be the lowest. But of course, naturally, the trade-off is that you'll be paying a higher price premium for it. So then again, so this really comes back to your decision as a buyer, whether what makes more sense for you. Do you have that luxury of time, to be able to go and rebuild? Do you enjoy that process of rebuilding as well? Because rebuilding takes up a lot of not just mental energy but also physical energy. Also, you have to probably go down a lot of site visits. You have to engage with many different contractors, many different IDs, or your carpenters, different people to oversee this entire rebuilding process as well. So I think this really comes down to a personal choice as to what is more important to you in this particular stage of your life as well. Do you need to really move in somewhere soon, or do you have that luxury of time and that mental capacity as well to really go through this entire rebuilding process? So this comes back to the disparity effect because different kind of category of homes set you back in terms of different kind of timeline as well. So this also interlinks into the disparity effect in terms of the state of condition, because the state of condition is going to determine the amount of time that is going to be needed in terms of this particular property journey as well. So for example, if we take a look at the price movements from year 2021 to 2023, this is an example in D19, specifically the Serangoon Gardens Landed Enclave. So if you can take a look, year 2021, Cat 1 homes, you can find them just about the 3M range. However, coming to 2023, prices have risen up pretty much, and right now they are starting at least at $4 million and upwards. So to find anything that is like 3M range is almost, I would say, it's really impossible in today's market already. So if you take a look like Cat 2, Cat 2 homes have also gone up, Cat 3 homes have also gone up, and naturally there's always this spillover effect because if let's say Cat 1 homes are now doing better, right, are now calling on a higher price, then naturally Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4 homes will also want a higher price because of that different state of condition that they have to a Category 1 home. Very naturally, an owner would then want a higher price as well. So that's also one of the key drive in terms of the price appreciation for the various category of homes. So for example, in this particular area then, if coming to year 2023, if let's say you're really just going for a terrace or inter-terrace, then what kind of category home should you be going for? So in this particular scenario, my personal take is that I would go for a Category 4 home in this particular scenario. It's just because in terms of the price increment from 2021 to 2023, what we notice is that Cat 4 appreciated the least compared to like Cat 1. So your Cat 1 actually appreciated by 33%, and it's also very natural because usually the lower pricing quantum properties has more buyers in that pool. Therefore, they usually tend to get absorbed a little bit more quickly as well. And so in this particular year, 2023, my personal view is that I would go for a Cat 4 home just because the price appreciation has not gone up as drastically as a Cat 1 or Cat 2 homes yet. And if we were to paint a different scenario as well, if let's say today you have $5 million budget as a first-time landed buyer, and then you are specifically looking the D19 area, what kind of property should you then go for? Ideally, we always want to look for at least 4 to 5 bedrooms. So assuming this particular scenario, let's take a look at what are some of the price range in year 2023. So in year 2023, Category 1 homes for inter-terrace, they're probably ranging about $3.8 to $4 million. So brand new homes will then set you about 5M to 5.8M. Semi-D for Cat 1 homes, they are doing about 4.8 to 5.2M. Of course, brand new homes that will range a lot higher. So that's going to be about easily about $6 to $8 million. So assuming that, let's say today you have $5 million of a budget, technically there are two clear choices that you can go for. So first one either being your brand new inter-terrace or maybe a corner terrace. The second one being a Cat 1 semi-D kind of home. So I think it comes down to the state of condition. So this is a decision for you to make. It really depends on your family needs as well as your lifestyle preference. But personally, I think from a more objective point of view, if let's say this home you can hold for at least the next 5 to 10 years, my personal take is that you should then go for the semi-D, even though it's a Cat 1 or maybe even a Cat 2 home. The rationale being it's still a higher form of landed within the landed segment itself, and easily in the next 5 to 10 years now, if the inter-terrace prices continue to push up as well, naturally so will the semi-D homes also continue to rise up as well as the detached homes. And by the time, and I think easily 10 years now, probably you won't really be able to find anything under the 5M or around the 5M range for a semi-D anymore. And naturally, of course, the lower the number of supply of homes, the stronger your holding power should be. And of course, generally speaking, in terms of supply, semi-D will always have a lower supply than your inter-terraces or your corner terraces as well. So this is really just one of the key framework that you can utilize in terms of helping you decide what kind of property you should go for, inter-terrace, corner terrace, semi-D or detached in this particular market as well. Come back to the MOAT analysis and we'll talk about the second key factor, which is increasing your buyer audience.